now?
I'm in my closet at work.
Love that.
I saw the like rolling rack behind me. I'm like, let me try to make this a little more cute. The COVID days.
Yes.
Making sure everyone's 6 feet apart.
Yeah, all the things.
Y'all, it's just, I forgot my water bottle. It's just water. Tell me.
Yeah. I mean, you know, we can have cocktails too, mommy cocktails. I think that's acceptable.
I know. Hi, everyone tuning in.
Hello.
Okay, color. It's a Fenty that I need to get some new Fenty. Since we're talking about Black queens today, it is called. I'm getting old. Like, who can read this? And I got LASIK. It's called Mademoiselle. I was trying to dig stuff out of my bag to act like I didn't just teach 4 classes. I'm just glad no one can smell me.
All right. Wait, I think Brandi just got here. Brandi, can you request so you can join us? We'll get you in here.
I saw her join.
Oh, here we go. It was like off somewhere else. Here we go.
You're welcome.
There you
go.
Yes, background, come through.
I know.
How are you?
All the plants, gorgeous. The lights. We're in rainy New York City, so it's been very gloomy all day here.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. How are you all?
Good. All right. Well, welcome everybody. Thank you so much for joining. I'm Erin Carpenter. I'm the founder of Nude Barre and the CEO. I'm also a mama of a 2.5-year-old wild child daughter. But we're here with Brandi, we're here with Rachel, and it's Black Maternal Health Week. They have such a wealth of knowledge of all the things to share. So I would love for you guys to introduce yourselves. Whoever wants to go first.
Brandi, you go.
Okay. My name is Brandi Seller Jackson. I am a doula. I am I'm the co-founder of Moms in Color. I am the creator of Not So Private Parts, an online blog that's centered around reproductive health and talking about the things that we don't really usually talk about. I am an author with a book that will be coming out under Penguin Random House and Valentine. I do a lot. I am a mom of 3 boys, and I'm surprised they're not running around right now, and I'm just grateful that that's not the case. Oh my gosh, crazy.
You don't look it, darling. You look like everything about your life is peaceful. So
thank you. It's crazy. Like, if I showed y'all like the rest of the house,
I get it.
There's toys are everywhere.
Yeah, turn the camera over here. It's a whole situation.
You got to know your angles. You got to know your angles. Room angles, all the angles.
Not just my reality, because I also am a boy mom. So hi, everybody. My name is Rachel Nix Lyons. I'm a mom to 2 boys, 3.5 and 6 months. Currently, it just looks like baby bouncers have barfed all in my house and Nerf guns, because my 3-year-old is like a teenager. I'm like, Nerf guns? I am an actor. I am a doula, lactation counselor, fitness instructor, and a new founder of a nonprofit to combat the Black maternal health crisis called Birth Queen. And I'm so excited to be here with you, lovely queens.
Yay, amazing. So would love to just kind of start with the facts. They're not that enticing, but just want to kind of set the stage for just why Black Maternal Health Week even exists, why we're here talking about it, and you know, trying to educate more people on what is happening with the Black maternal health crisis in this country. And yeah, so whoever wants to chime in on that, because I know there's like all the things, but of course, you know, after we kind of state those, I would love to talk about all the positive things that we can do and the solutions that are available, which both of you guys are have created.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I'll start with the New York facts. New York. I think a lot of people, you know, read the Times article. Birth workers and probably many Black women already knew, but Black women are 12 times more likely to die in New York City than their white counterparts nationwide. You know, people want to say 3 to 4, but it's really kind of 3 to 5 times more likely nationwide. Our babies are twice as likely not to make it to their first birthdays. Our breastfeeding rates are lower. Our miscarriage rates are higher. It's a lot of stress and trauma. And the reason is racism. There's just no way around it. And I think the other really important fact for everyone to try their best to wrap their head around is that this is not a BIPOC issue. It is a Black issue, and it's not an economic issue. It's across the board. And I think it's easy to kind of be like, it's those people. No, it's kind of a free for all, unfortunately. And so at this point, pretty much every Black woman is going to die. And questioning whether or not she ever wants to be a mother, because out of fear of her pregnancy, her birth, and then losing her children to senseless violence and racism. So, I mean, it's just, we just live in a cycle of trauma. But there's people like Brandi and I who try to hold on to some hope and find a solution. So you got to keep your head up, right? I'm an Oakland girl, so like, rings true in that regard, because if your head is always down, then what's the point, you know?
Yeah. And you know, for me, I'm not doing the type of work that you're doing, but you know, the reason why this is so important to me is that Rachel and I, her firstborn and my one child that I have, are 10 months apart. And so we live literally 10 blocks away from each other. We're, you know, really good friends. And so I was with her throughout her pregnancy and a lot of her, you know, learning about some of these horrible statistics, as well as just educating herself to prepare herself for her pregnancy. And then shortly after I got pregnant and was kind of like freaking out a little bit with this information. And you know, she gave me a few books to read and just, you know, equipped me with a lot of resources. And shortly after, I was like, listen, I need you to be there advocating for me, like during my labor. I don't feel comfortable doing this without someone there, in addition to my husband and my partner, but like really want someone there to not be super emotional in what's going on like my husband might be, but to just advocate for me and to understand what's going on and the proper way of navigating the system, the healthcare system during this time. So I know for me, you know, a big fear that I had was like, I might not come home. Like my husband could lose me and be a single dad. Like that was what I felt was not that far-fetched of a reality. And so, you know, going into my pregnancy, even conceiving and then going into the pregnancy and then going through, you know, labor and delivery was like very scary to me. So
it's, I mean, I think the other thing too, which you probably encounter, and what I encountered with just my most recent birth, is I would have said it isn't affecting me. I didn't think it was until I birthed Baldwin 6 months ago, and I had a lot of bleeding, and they're all up in there. I'm sorry. I'm like, I mean, a forearm is nothing after 2 days of labor. But I said, do what you got to do, because I don't want to die. And as I say it now, I think, you know, after birth, it takes time to process what you've been through. And it just hit me this week that clearly that was something that was top of mind are really in my body. And I struggled and Erin as well. Like we both stalled, right? And like at like 4 and 5 centimeters. And I know a lot of Black women that happens to. And if people don't understand, the cervix, you need oxytocin. A mother needs to be at peace and to feel safe for her physical body to open to deliver her child. And we don't feel safe. And so a lot of us aren't opening because we're afraid, and it just hit me this week, like, yo, maybe that's why I stalled both times, because I was terrified without even being fully conscious of it.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I would like to add, just hearing this, it reminds me of, with my oldest,
Mm-hmm.
who's now 14, he'll be 15 this year.
Okay, mommy.
Wow.
Yeah, not 15 months, like 15 years old.
Wow.
I think it was like 18 hours of Pitocin, with nothing budging.
Mm.
And then with Jedi, it was 43 hours of labor. I had back labor, and I was mostly on my back, because no one in the room knew, hey, how about you get her off her back?
Oh, no.
Get her off her back. So that was pretty traumatic. But then there was Jupiter, my last baby. 3 hours from top to bottom. 3 hours. From the time my midwife walked into our door to the time she left, until he made it earthside, I should say. 3 hours. And I think of when you said that, just reminded me, what was the difference?
Mm-hmm.
I felt safe.
Mm-hmm.
I felt safe. The first two, even though with Jax, I wasn't aware of the statistics. This was 2006.
Right.
So, and there was no such thing as Instagram or these like social media platforms where the information was readily available. So I wasn't aware of that, but I still didn't feel safe.
Mm-hmm.
And the same thing goes with Jedi. I didn't feel safe. I didn't know, but I know that my body didn't feel safe.
Mm-hmm.
And with Jupiter, I changed it up a bit. I said, okay, I'm not going to give birth there. I'm going to give birth the way that I want to give birth and where I want to give birth. Yeah. And that was a game changer for me. One of the things that we see, and this is with any living, breathing, birthing thing, we're all looking for safety.
Mm-hmm.
We're all looking for safety. One of the things I mentioned I had an earlier live with Angela Rye, and I mentioned to her, as humans, I don't know if y'all remember this song. This is like an old school song. This is like way back in the day, like old gospel song. But please prepare me to be a sanctuary. Do you all remember that kind of, sort of? It's old. I'm telling my age. But I remember being at this birth, and this meditative ensemble called Beautiful Chorus, I think is their name.
Okay.
But they do like meditation music. They did a rendition of that. And I remember them singing this song, and it's just vocals because it's for meditation. And this mom is birthing in this tub, and she has her round belly, and she's birthing, and she's rocking, and she's swaying, and she's moaning, and she's questioning if she can do it. And she's also knowing that she can do it all at the same time. But that's playing in the background. And one of the things that stuck out to me was, prepare me to be a sanctuary. And what it made me think of is how we as living beings, we all are looking for sanctuary and for safety. And we are also living, breathing sanctuaries, walking around to be safe spaces for others.
Right.
And so I think with birth, it's no different. When you see labors that are stalled,
Yep.
It's because we don't feel safe. When we see bodies that are miscarrying because of statistics, there's a situation recently where there's this couple who literally had a gun pulled on them. They owned a food truck, and this white gentleman pulled a gun on them, and she miscarried weeks later.
Yeah.
And so that is the thing. I think that it's safety. We want to feel safe, and we need to feel safe.
Yeah. When I did training with Deborah Pascali-Bonaro, she told the story about a group of women she had that were all about to give birth, and then 9/11 happened. And I think it was 12 women, and 9 of those babies flipped to breech.
Oh.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Wow. Mm-hmm. And so it's like that, but you're connected. Even just with Baldwin, like I was able to start to get some body work done during my 3rd trimester this summer. And when I sat or laid down my first acupuncture session, he replied to every single needle. But I knew I had been so stressed and I really needed that. Like my husband was like, how many appointments? I was like, I am anxiety ridden, and this baby does not deserve this. And I blame him for my lack of ability to sleep at night until one day I was like, this is not his fault. Like I've been pregnant before. I don't have anxiety. I don't have trouble sleeping because I am similar to Brandi, like 85 jobs. I run stop and then I completely crash. Like, you know, as long as I can, some kid wakes me up. And so one day I hugged him and in my belly, and I was like, I'm not blaming you anymore. Like, this is not your fault. This is racism. This is not me. This is not you. This is all this noise and craziness. And so I just did whatever I could to like keep us safe, and to be present for, my other child and whomever else I'm giving to. And as queens, like we must be able to give from a full cup. And that's really the focus of my nonprofit, is not about this survival narrative for Black people. Like my chains, like I choose my chains. Okay, God knew not to have me be no slave. I probably wouldn't have made it, or I would have killed somebody. Okay, like I would not have endured that mess. So it's like those days are over. That like enduring kind of narrative and like carrying this load all the time. I want us as queens to be able to take that off and luxuriate and reconnect to our ancestry and our abundance and our joy and live there and protect our sanctuary, which you so beautifully said. It's that. Don't let anybody, the other noise has to stay out here. And we didn't create the problem. We don't also need to find the solution, but I think we have in common that produces joy for us to continue to find the solution and live in a place of peace and hope. But yeah.
How do you think moms, because for me, when like preparing myself for birth was also an education period, right? Of like, should I prepare and all these things? But at the same time, it made things seem a little more scary in a sense, right? Like the more birth stories I read or watched, or even, during my pregnancy, the documentary on HBO with Serena Williams and how she almost died in childbirth was like mind blowing to me. So it's like, she has all these resources in the world. How the heck did that happen? So what would you guys say is the best way for a mom to prepare for being comfortable in whatever space she is to deliver without freaking herself out, basically?
I'll take that one, Brandi.
Because I feel like I did so much research to find where I wanted to birth and where I thought I'd be comfortable, but that clearly wasn't what happened,
Yeah. It's undoing that has to be done, right? I think you have to, and Brandi, let me know if you're with me on this, but like I think you have to know the history of obstetrics and how it's by design that they taken our power, and not just Black women, every woman.
Yeah.
So they made birth a business, right? And they made us feel that we needed these white men and these tools and these scrubs and technology to have babies. And even pre-technology, right? Like, death was not from midwives. Black women were midwives. Like, I love that my dad at 70, I think I told you guys the other day, was like, what? How is there a Black maternal health crisis? We was the one having the babies, delivering the babies, feeding the babies, clothing the babies. Like, how is he? It just didn't compute in his brain. But we have to understand, like, Black women's bodies were practiced upon C-sections. You know, the census proves that we were also raped because most of those were mixed race babies without anesthesia. They deduced we don't feel pain in the same way. They created obstetrics. They didn't take midwives with them, so they didn't have those traditions. They didn't have those practices. They just were kind of like shooting in the dark, washing their hands, and that's when we But this crazy Lifetime movie that came out this week, Beware of the Midwife.
I saw that. I didn't watch it, but I saw people posting about it. That's crazy.
During Black Maternal Health Week.
The kickoff. And then Dante, I was like, everybody needs to sit down, please. I can't. This is too much. So yeah, you need to know your history and know that they got in your head to make you think you're broken and that you need them. And that is lies. And so we're all deeply affected by that. And so are our family. So I would have loved to have a home birth, but the amount of stress my family probably would have put on me having a home birth would have probably caused a problem too. You know what I'm saying? Because they're afraid, because they also have been bamboozled to think that we need this obstetrics and blah, blah, blah. So I think knowing your history and really trying to do the work to like undo that. But I mean, that's generation on generation. It's tough.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think for sure the undoing is first, because I think for me, the only reason that I looked at or considered home birth was because I found out it was an option.
Mm-hmm.
And the only reason that I realized, oh, wait, I need to find someone who I feel safe with.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't have to perform for or answer questions for or explain anything.
Yeah.
I found that out much later too. And so I think the more that you find things out, but then also the more you lean into what feels good for you. I think that we have been programmed also to feel that when we prioritize what we want to do or what we feel like doing, we've been, I think, conditioned to think that that's selfish.
Yeah.
And that we're not supposed to think that way.
Mm-hmm.
And so one of the things that I really encourage doula clients, postpartum clients, parents, people, during pregnancy, it's the one time that you can be quote unquote selfish, if you want to use that word. If you want to use that word,
Right.
you can do that. If something doesn't feel right for you, you don't need to do it. Don't do it. If something feels like, you know what, I started to do this, but I feel like I don't need to birth with this person now. They don't make me feel comfortable.
Right.
Don't birth with that person. Let's find somebody else.
And that colors your whole journey as a mother. And I think
yes, it does.
Definitely do not talk enough about postpartum.
Yeah.
And, you know, the 4th trimester, that also then carries, it just sets the tone for your motherhood. And, you know, I'm someone that does not deal in mommy guilt. And I don't question myself as a mother. I educate myself and I empower myself and I give myself options. But when I tell you, I do not it really breaks my heart to know that so many women don't feel confident about their mothering. And there's this like most women I feel like live in a state of anxiety. And that is so unfortunate because, and I think again, that's also by design to sell some more shit, you know, it's really to sell some shit. Like, you really need this $800 stroller. You really need this $40 pacifier. Like, you don't need none of it.
No. It's funny. I tell folks during postpartum, I literally like, they need you. They need you. They need you. I mean, if you want to get fancy and get a carrier so you can get some stuff done with your hands free, fine, go for it. Diapers, even diapers you don't need, but I would recommend it. I mean, I know people who do that. They get into the EC, the elimination communication thing, and that's cool and all, but that just gives you one more thing to do.
Exactly.
As if you're not busy already.
Ask me that, Erin. You're like, are you doing? Because Erin's a research queen. She's like, girl, are you? I'm like, hell no, I ain't doing that.
It's a little much.
Cloth diapers for a while. I did the days in cloth diapers. I do the washing, and then I got 5 jobs, so anybody got time.
It's a little much. I mean, I think that when you're postpartum, you already have so many things that's going on.
You have your own diaper.
You have your own diaper, and you're black, and you're like, you're just trying to keep your head like in a state of joy, and now you got to stare at your baby nonstop to know when they're gonna take a poop or not. Like,
do you know
it's too much?
Real?
Huh?
Do people do that for real?
Yes, I had
from the beginning.
Like around 6 weeks is when they start. And I knew someone who did, and listen, it worked for them. Literally by 6 months, their baby was potty trained. But it's a little much. It kind of ran her crazy a little bit. Like, and looking back now, like I could see where, like, I was like, yeah, you falling off the rails, homegirl. Your left eye twitching. Like, I don't know. I don't know.
Girl, with boys, because they find a way to peek through everything. One day at church, my husband was holding my son, and he literally, my husband looked at me thinking he was peeing because there was a puddle of pee at his feet, and he's like, where did it come from? He's not wet. Somehow Samuel peed like through his diaper and down his pant leg on the floor at church. There was a puddle of pee on the floor, and we were like, how did that happen?
That was very strategic. Very strategic. Like, I'm gonna angle a little bit.
You know, he blessed. Just saying, I has mommy, but I'm just kidding.
I just want to pause and say, everybody that's watching, if you have any questions, please drop them into the question Q&A box. So while we have these amazing women here, just drop them in. But what would you guys say, like, just to like keep it positive, what are just like the joyful things that you're finding in motherhood today, especially in these crazy times where there's a lot of darkness happening? But yeah, just like, what's like a joyful thing that you're finding in motherhood right now?
My boys' relationship is really special.
Love that.
It's like, it's so freaking cute. And I know, Brandi, I'm sure with Bree, you really understand this, but when they both need me, and I'm like, okay, I can't do both, right? And calmly, like, I feel myself watch myself, and I'm like, okay, we're going to get through this together. I have to prioritize probably the baby because he's the baby, and like calmly trying to explain to brother. But somehow that's kind of some like beautiful, chaotic moment as well. And so my new like hashtag or mantra these days is beautiful chaos. It's like, it's beautiful chaos. And that when it's really chaotic and I feel myself worried about the house being clean or worrying about somebody's, you know, whatever. I'm just like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Everybody's safe, healthy, you know, and it's all good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love that.
For me, I think just really checking in. Like there are certain things that, I'll give you an example. So one thing that I've been doing is not being so rigid.
I need to work
I don't
on that.
have to, I don't have to do anything. Like really telling myself, like, I don't have to do anything. I don't have to do anything. There's a very short list.
Uh-oh, we lost your sound. Can you hear us? We can't hear you.
Oh no.
Oh no. No, we can't hear you.
Maybe put your do not disturb on. I think sometimes that's what causes it. Someone like texts you or something. Uh-oh. Come on, technology. Pull through.
Come on, tech. No.
Okay.
But in the meantime, Rev Juju said morning hugs. That's a good one. Mikkel, my daughter, she's now at the age where she's like, Mommy, I love you. And that's just like the sweetest thing to me. I'm like,
yeah.
It's just like, there's nothing better. So that and morning hugs, I agree with you.
Walking home from school with Samuel is my new favorite because, like, even though he's 3, we have like full conversations.
Yeah.
And he's like, Mommy, you're not looking at me, Mommy. And I'm like, okay. It's fun, like talking to your kids.
Yeah, I agree.
It's a cool thing.
There we go. Okay. That's perfect. Okay.
Someone called, and so of course when they call, it knocks everything off. Jeez Louise. What was I saying? Oh yeah, I was just saying there's very few things that you have to do. There's very few things that you have to do, and just remind. And it's a short list. Like it's a short list.
Like feed, bathe.
Yeah. And just reminding yourself of that. There's a short list of things that I really just like. It is a non-negotiable. The world will implode if I don't do them.
Yeah.
The world, like, it's a short list. And so with that, it kind of provides a bit of ease for me to navigate. It lightens the load a bit. And yeah, the way I've been finding joy is just, I mean, we've been in a pandemic for over a year now. Yeah. Right? And you know, for those of us who have a whole bunch of kids and 1 kid, 2 kids, 3 kids, an extra person in the house, that's like it's a whole nonstop. It's a whole different thing.
I'm like,
and so just really being aware of that has been giving me a lot of joy. You know, Bridgerton gave me a lot of joy. Bridgerton gave me so much joy.
Little brown butt cheeks. I was like, come through.
So good.
Listen,
all right.
And I'm only saying this because my partner knows. I'm like, listen, little British prince over there could get it. He could get it. He wears a little flowy prince shirts. I'm just saying. Just saying. He's like, oh, young enough probably be my son. But I'm just saying. But he brought me joy. Bridgerton brought me joy. Ice cream has brought me joy. Spending time with my partner has brought me joy. This amount of time with my partner has brought me joy. My kids, they are hilarious. They are funny, like really, 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 really funny. Like I was doing something today. I was just like sending out emails and like invoices and stuff like that. And Jedi was like, what's an invoice? I was like, well, it's where you invoice people and they give you money. He was like, well, why would anybody want to do that? Like, that's hilarious. I'm like, that is a good question. Why would anybody want to do that? I don't know what to tell you. I don't know. We humans are crazy. I don't know. So, it's just being present.
Yeah. That's the one. All right. So we have a question from Say says, what can or should you do to prepare your body for pregnancy? And oops, I tapped something and it went away. Hold on.
What's the best activity to do while pregnant? I think she asked me that.
Yes.
Okay, so the pelvic floor is my favorite muscle group. Oh Lord, I'm lactating, y'all. Anyway, I should have put my pump on. And I hate nursing pads, like hate. And your picture came out cute, girl. You look cute, even with your leaves on. I was like,
I love them with the cabbage
it's
leaves.
like
That's so good.
All the cabbage. All the cabbage.
This
Whole
sexy-
salad.
Explain what that is to the watchers, the viewers.
Oh, the weaning with the.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
So I'm weaning. Yay, me, finally. My child is 25 years old. He's 25 and he decided to wean today. No. And so I've been stuffing cabbage leaves in my bra because that basically helps absorb and draws out the milk and basically dries up your milk. So it's doing it okay, but it's not doing as quickly as I would like. And so that's why I had cabbage leaves in my bra, and I timed it around the time I was going to be shooting for Nude Barre. And I was like, well, the option is either A, they gonna get these really engorged boobs, which, hey, might be cool,
Right?
but they don't really look that cute right now.
It's all the-
They don't, right? Like, the veiny boobs aren't cute.
I know, and I have like one right here. When I record auditions, I'm like, it's sort of cute. And then it'd be this one vein, like.
Yeah. It looks like you kind of look like I said when you're engorged like that, you look like a really bad episode of Botched. It's just like this, and they're all lopsided too. Like one is more engorged than the other.
More milk.
Always have a bigger one.
Yeah. So I was just like, you know what? Cabbage leaves. It is what it is. They're gonna get these cabbage leaves.
You styled it real cute.
Thank you.
So, okay. So the pelvic floor is very important, y'all. Learn about it. Okay. So it's not just doing Kegels, and culturally, everything's about keep it tight, right? It's about the flexibility. So when you're talking about pregnancy into birth and postpartum, it's the balance. So just think about when you work out, right? You want strength and you want flexibility. So incontinence can be caused during pregnancy. So you want to make sure you're engaging your pelvic floor. You're also practicing how to fully relax to prepare to push. Because the goal is the way baby came in, got in there is the way the baby's going to come out of there, ideally. And your abdominals, which are like your corset ab muscles. We're not worried about like those 300 abs. You might get there, you might not, whatever. But where we come together, we can come apart. So there's no like perfect recipe to completely prevent diastasis, but there are things you can do to like lower the chances of you getting it. Like not sitting straight up out of bed, roll over, helping yourself up, actually doing like diaphragmatic breathing so that you're engaging your transverse abs. And then postpartum, you're putting everything back together. So you're doing your transverse abdominal toning as you lift and engage the pelvic floor and relax. So that, if someone had 5 minutes in their day, I say chest openers to keep your chest open, because your breast and your belly and then a baby turn you into a hunchback. So upper back strength, chest opener stretches, pelvic floor work, transverse abdominals. Walk. Do some squats or some lunges. It doesn't have to be crazy. Do not be crazy. The biggest no-no I would say is like, once you hit about your second trimester, I'm not really big on high impact. It's not that your baby's going to not be okay. They love it. They in there bouncing around. They're happy. But it's, I always think risk benefit. You're bouncing then a bowling ball on your pelvic floor. It's a hammock. If you keep doing that with it, when is it gonna come back, right? So when if in the most broad brushstroke approach, it would be the nugget I give you. And of course, it's like different for everybody. And postpartum, please just rest. Let your body do what it needs to do. You can slowly start to do some gentle stretching, a little gentle yoga flow, a walk, your pelvic floor work, your transverse ab work. But I mean, I get DMs at a week postpartum, and I'm like, girl, lay down. And 6 weeks, please. That doesn't mean anything. That's also the patriarchy. It's really you can have a penis back inside of you clearance. It's not go for a run. Do not go for a run 6 weeks, please. Okay. So those are my nuggets. You know, it can get more granular, but I think grab that and put it in your toolbox.
Cool. I love this one from Emma Cody. What are some resources you'd recommend for women who cannot access a doula or midwife? Those things cost money.
Yeah. One of the things that I would do if you are wanting, and this is what I'm perceiving what you're asking, is if you're wanting a midwife and a doula, I'll answer it two ways. That's what I'll do. First one, if you are wanting a midwife and a doula, but it's a little pricey or out of your budget, crowdfund. So one of the things you can do is, you know, I know that everyone loves a good baby shower. I know everyone wants the stroller. They want the cute outfits and all that. But I'm going to tell you something that is going to probably bust a lot of people's bubbles. You don't need a lot of it. You really don't need a stroller until baby. I usually didn't use my stroller until like baby was like in their toddler years. I was probably usually baby wearing, cute outfits depending on when your baby's born. You're probably gonna, if it's the summer, you're probably gonna be indoors and they're probably in a diaper and skin to skin. That's the best thing anyways, right?
Mm-hmm.
And outfits on a newborn, they're cute. They are.
They're like this.
But where are they going? We're also still in a pandemic. Where are you going? Where are you going? Down the hall?
Yep.
Okay. So there's that. What I say about crowdfunding, whether it's your midwife, your doula, ask people, hey, thank you so much for supporting us. Mm-hmm. What we would love is for you to put, you know, add to our birth account, our birthing fund. And there's a lot of platforms like Babylist has one. Mm-hmm. There's other platforms where literally people can just give money. Yeah. That's it. And then use that money. You'd be surprised at how much you will get by doing that. And a lot of times that may pay for your birth and your doula. Yeah. It may happen. Because if you think about it, you think about how much people spend on strollers, and then they spend on the diapers and all that. If you look at the retail value of those things, a lot of times it's up there. So, you know, I recommend, hey, reach out to your village, your folks, and say, hey, we are foregoing gifts per se. We need a car seat, yes. Yeah. But as far as everything else, give to this. This will help fund the birth that we want. So that's the first thing that I would do. The second thing that I would do is if, say, for example, you're like, actually, I don't want to do a home birth or any of that. And you can do the same thing for doulas too. Mm-hmm. And you're like, I feel safer in a hospital. Say, for example, that's you. That is your thing. You can make sure that you find a provider that you feel seen by and you feel safe with. That's the biggest thing. And then if you want to bring a doula alongside, crowdfund for the doula, bring the doula alongside with you in the hospital. So those are two ways that I usually recommend. You know, because I know there's a lot of people that are like, hey, hospitals make me feel safer. And here's the thing, you know, while I'm like, listen, you are safer giving birth under a tree in the forest if you are Black than giving birth in a hospital, even though that's my personal feelings. It won't matter if you don't feel safe giving birth under a tree in a forest.
Correct.
If you don't feel safe, you end up going to the hospital anyways. You're going to end up being transferred anyways, because again, it's a lot of the mind and your body's not going to open up anyways. So really it's about what makes you feel safe. So if it's a thing of, hey, I want to birth in the hospital, just, you know, make sure that you feel seen and you feel heard. Ask them questions like, hey, would you treat me any different if I were, because I'm a Black patient? And if their words are, oh, I don't see color, or I don't see why that would make a difference, then that's not your provider, because they need to be aware of what's happening out here. So yeah.
And also your partner and who you're surrounded by.
Yes.
I was curious how you handled having kids in the house. Samuel was worried about me in labor this go round, you know, when it was hurting, and I tried to like closet or whatever. But I knew it wasn't time to go. But like my dad, like, I think it's time to go. That sounded bad. You know, I'm like, I know my body. It's not time to go. But like, you know, it's also, you got to be careful that you're not kind of burnt for your surroundings. And that's tough. You can still like, I know plenty of women that were like, I like held off my labor because I had 3 other kids. I had to make sure they had childcare. And so like my labor started, but I literally was like, nah, we ain't got no childcare yet. You gotta wait. Like, and she legit was like, I stopped my labor until my mom came, and then I was able to labor and like have my baby. So just, I think it's being, create that quiet, you know, and the only time you might have it is like when you're on the toilet or showering or in the tub, but just like it can really connect to baby and your body and like what it's telling you, not what your mind is telling you. Like Brandi said, you can't work out of your head. And if you're stuck there, it's gonna be a really not fun process, and it's probably gonna take longer. It's probably gonna hurt more. Birth is not like arithmetic. Time is throw clocks away. All of those things.
Yeah. All right. Last question.
Yeah.
Run out of time. Candy Kane 30 asked, did you guys have an OBGYN, a midwife, or a doula during your pregnancy? And then I don't know why Instagram doesn't let me see the rest of this message.
How was your experience?
Okay.
I had a midwife and a doula, and I birthed in a hospital setting. So my midwifery practice utilized a hospital, but they weren't a part of the hospital. So in New York City, I was with Central Park Midwifery, and Lindsay Bliss was my doula, and Elaine was my midwife. And I was going to do that again, and then the pandemic happened, and then I had Baldwin at UCLA with their midwifery practice. And they were lovely. And Lindsay, like, you know, we did some virtual dueling and we laughed. She's like, you just have the most comfortable uterus ever, because I have OP babies. But luckily Baldwin turned, and I only had to push for like 15, 20 minutes instead of 3 hours. So that was nice. He also had a cuter little head. Samuel's big-headed baby. He cute though. He had to grow into it. We were looking at those baby pictures like, damn, his head was huge.
He's so cute. He's so cute.
He got it honest, so it's cute. We love him. He got a lot of brains in there.
Exactly. Yeah. I had an OB. I deep down really wanted a midwife, but wasn't feeling confident, I guess, with my personal health situation, that was the right decision. So I went with the OB. But if I had to do it again, I would do a midwife. Also, like, financial constraints for a midwife was another determining factor for me. And again, if I could do it all over again, I would crowdfund like you recommended, Brandi. And then I begged Rachel to be there as my doula, and she was amazing, especially after. I think those are like some of my fondest memories of like having Rachel run over to the apartment every day to like cook for us and make sure like I was good, and that's just like super memorable for me and made a huge difference in my postpartum.
I was like, doing that show off Broadway too. I was like,
oh yeah, and yeah, she was like in a show on Broadway, like left for an hour during my labor, and like came back. Like it was just like the craziest time.
It all worked out though. Yeah. If it's meant to be, it'll be. I think, trust. I think that's important too. I think Brandi would agree. Just you let go of control. Just trust the process.
Yeah.
And tap into your power. Yeah. Tap into strength. Let me tell you, when I had 2 big old babies, and I'm not a big mama, I was like, I don't know where these humans came from, but I mean, like, I did it, and I did deal with that. I dealt with people questioning my strength because I'm not big, right, or whatever they think I need to look like to like push out a baby. I don't know, but I had to defend. Like, I remember this nurse kind of being like, she ain't gonna be able to have this baby. And then I went through it with Baldwin, where I'm like, yo, they were trying to force Pitocin on me to push. And I was like, I don't need Pitocin to push. I've already pushed out. Like, I'm good. Like, please stop. And that was crazy because I know my body and I know how to advocate for myself, but you should never have to do that. But with Samuel, my mom was there as well. And she was, when they threatened after 2 hours, right, to vacuum or cut, she said, baby, you call them ancestors. I just didn't care anymore what people thought. I trusted all that I knew. And I just tapped in, vocalized. I knew I needed to squat. And with Baldwin, I'm so excited I got to push. I like pulled my hip because I like hopped into that squat. And I was like, give me a sheet. And I was like, oh, I got the baby out. I'm so tired of being in labor. And they were like, what is happening? I was like, just let me have this baby. I don't need anybody to help me. And so you don't need to like be some professional, you guys. Like, if I could just give you that, ancestors have been birthing babies for thousands of years. You know how to birth. And so my mom raised me to tell me, and I have to leave you with this, it is your body, it is your baby, and only you know what's best for your body and your baby. And don't let anybody get in there and tell you otherwise. And if you start to question that shit, then you're in the wrong environment. And you have the power in a hospital setting to be like, this ain't working for me. I need somebody else. Yeah. You have that power. It's your body. And so don't let anybody do anything to your body that you don't feel comfortable with or to your baby. Take your power. And I know I'm getting a little Oakland and riled up, but it's true. I'm sensitive about my shit.
Love that. All right. Well, let's end on that note. I think that's like a positive takeaway. Like, it's your body.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, thank you, ladies, so much. I'm so grateful for your knowledge, and I hope everyone else loved listening to all the gems that you dropped. So thank you. And I'll talk to you later.
All right. See you all later.
Bye.
Bye.